Welcome to Staffworks Explained. If you are here for the first time, please consider subscribing to this channel. We'll be talking about Mrima Hill, where we'll look at inside Kenya's most consequential mineral bids, who wants it, who may win, and what is at stake. When Kenya invited Expression of Interest, which is known as EOI, in March 2026 for the development of Mrima Hill deposit in Kwale County, it did more than just launching a mining bid. It opened a high value contest over minerals that sit at the center of global industry policy, niobium and rare earth elements. What follows is not a conjuncture, but a grounded examination of what is known, the structure of the bid, the few actors who have publicly signaled interest, the geopolitical undertones shaping the process, and the practical realities, technical, environmental, and financial, that will determine who ultimately prevails. Let's start by looking at the bid framework, the controlled disclosure, as well as the structured progression. The expression of interest closed on 21st April 2026. At this stage, companies were required to demonstrate capability rather than submit full project proposals. This includes financial strength, technical experience, and track record in comparable operations. Critically, the government of Kenya has not released the list of companies that submitted expression of interest. This is a standard procurement practice. The next step is evaluation and shortlisting, followed by a request for proposal RFP, where detailed technical and financial bids are assessed. Any definitive claims about full field bidders would be therefore premature. Only a limited number of actors can be discussed with certainty. Those that have already declared their interest publicly before and even around the tender. The resource, which is a high value and high complex component. Mrima Hill is widely regarded as one of the most significant and developed deposits of niobium and rare earth elements in the region. Niobium is primarily used to strengthen steel, particularly in pipelines, automotive components, and aerospace applications. Rare earth elements, despite the name, are not necessarily scarce, but they are difficult to separate and process. They are essential in permanent magnets, electronics, as well as renewable energy systems. Extracting these minerals is not straightforward. Rare earth processing involves separating chemically similar elements through multi-stage process that require both precision and significant environmental safeguards. Waste streams can be hazardous if not properly managed. This is not a project that rewards inexperience. Let's now look at the policy shift where Kenya raises the bar. What distinguishes this tender from earlier mining deals is Kenya's insistence on value addition. In practical terms, this means bidders are expected to go beyond extraction and bidders are supposed to go beyond extraction and include some level of local processing. This policy direction reflects a broader shift across resource-rich countries seeking to retain more economic value domestically. However, it also introduces real constraints. Processing facilities demand stable infrastructure, skilled labor, as well as strict environmental controls. This requirement is clear. The execution, however, will be the true test. Who are the actors? What we know and what is not known. Only a small number of companies have publicly positioned themselves in relation to Mrima Hill. These are not confirmed winners or even confirmed expression of interest participants in all cases, but their prior engagement is on record. We have the US-linked proposal. One of the earliest and most visible expression of interest came from Mrima Earth Limited, part of a broader consortium backed by North American investors. This group reportedly submitted a development concept prior to the formal expression of interest. Its proposal aligns closely with Kenya's policy direction, emphasizing local processing, technology transfer, as well as industrial development. From a project delivery standpoint, such a model is attractive on paper. It addresses value retention and capital capacity building. The question, as always, is whether financing and execution can be matched. Then we have the Australian Technical Partnership, an Australian-linked consortium involving Rare X and Iluka Resources have also publicly indicated interest. Both firms bring technical capability. Australia is one of the few jurisdictions outside China with established rare earth expertise. Rare X is focused on rare earth exploration and development. Iluka Resources has experience in mining, mineral sands, and has been expanding into rare earth processing. Their advantage lies in technical execution, understanding the geology, the processing pathways, as well as the operational risks. What they may require, however, is a strong financial backing, as well as alignment with Kenya's value addition expectation. We have a strategic state interest, the US and China. But beyond individual companies, we have the Mrima project sits within a wider geopolitical context. The United States has been actively seeking to secure alternative source of critical minerals. Engagement with Kenya on this front is part of a broader effort to diversify supply chains away from over-reliance on a single dominant processor. China, while not publicly linked to specific bidder in this tender, remain the central force in rare earth sector. It controls a significant share of global processing capacity and has extensive experience in African mining projects. Its absence from public disclosure should not be misread as absence from this process. What are the likely pathways to award? Through reading the signals. While final outcome cannot be known at this stage, the parameters set by the Kenyan government provide a framework for assessing likely directions. Three broader scenarios emerge. We have a Western-backed consortium, where a bid combining financing from US or allied institutions with technical expertise, potentially from Australian firms, would likely would align closely with Kenya's stated priorities. Such a structure would likely emphasize on local processing, transparent governance, as well as environmental compliance. So this model is consistent with current policy standards. We have a hybrid structure. In practice, large mining projects often converge into hybrid arrangements. Financing, technical expertise, as well as construction capabilities may come from different regions. This approach can balance strength, Western financing, Australian technical knowledge, and potentially cost-effective engineering from other partners. It is often the most practical route, even if less politically visible. We also have a Chinese-led bid. A Chinese consortium would bring speed, integrated supply chains, as well as experience. However, its success would likely depend on its willingness to adapt to Kenya's requirement for local value addition. If that alignment is achieved, it remains a credible contender. If not, they may face policy resistance. Let's now look at the project execution, where outcomes will be decided. From a project management perspective, winning the tender is only the beginning. The more difficult phase is delivery. Projects of this scale encounter predictable risks. We have underestimated complexity, where geological and processing challenges often exceed early projections. We also have coordination breakdowns. Mining, processing, logistics, as well as environmental management must operate as a coherent system. Then there are financing gaps. Rare earth projects require long-term capital and stable offtake agreements, commitment from buyers to purchase the outputs. Failure in any of these actions or areas can stall or even derail the project entirely. Let's now look at the bigger picture, the environmental reality, the constraints that cannot be wished or negotiated away. Mrima Hill is located in an environmentally sensitive area. This introduces constraints that are not optional. Rare earth processing is, in particular, producing residues that must be carefully contained. Poor handling can lead to long-term contamination. Water use, land access, as well as community engagement are equally critical. These are not peripheral concerns. They determine whether the project retains its license to operate. A technically sound project that fails environmentally will not proceed. So what remains unknown, and why does it matter? At this stage, several key facts are not yet public. We don't have the full list of expression of interest applicants is not available. The number of submissions is not also available. The critical of weighing used in evaluation is also not available. The timeline for shortlisting is not yet available. These gaps are not unusual, but they do remain, they mean that any definitive ranking of bidders is not yet possible. In conclusion, we can say that this is a test of discipline, not ambition. Mrima Hill presents Kenya with rare convergence of opportunity and scrutiny. The resource is valuable, the global demand is real, and the investor interest, while not fully disclosed, is evident. But the decisive factor will not be who shows the most interest. It will be who can deliver within constraints of policy, environmental, and finance. There is a tendency in projects of this scale to focus on projected value and geopolitical narratives. Those matter, yes, but they do not build mines, process minerals, or even manage waste. Execution will, and it does. If Kenya holds firm on its requirements, that is value addition, environmental protection, and even transparency, which is most required, it has an opportunity to set different standards of resource development. If it does not, Mrima Hill will follow a more familiar path, like what we have in the oil and other minerals in Kenya. We have high expectations, and then what follows is difficult compromises. The next phase of this bid will begin to reveal which direction is being taken. So thank you for reaching this far. If it's your first time here, please consider subscribing to this channel. You can also hit the notification bell so that whenever you upload a new video, you are notified. You can also watch other videos that we have made on this project, or this Mrima Hill, rare earth and niobium minerals, as well as others that we have made on different topics. So thank you, and let's meet in the next one.